Really? You go to CSB before you go to me? What kind of podcast friend are you, Gene? Hey ho, let's go. It's episode 120 of Unrelenting. I am Darren O'Neill. He is Gene Nefduliev, and the world is much safer now that Joe Biden is completely coherent.
Grumble, blah, 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 tomorrow.
I missed about
Is that a pretty good impersonation?
Yeah, I missed like the first 20 minutes or so. I guess that was the worst.
So you missed him waking up.
I know. It's like I thought he was horrible. And then I start seeing clips immediately after on News Nation, which was the broadcast for News Nation was helmed by Chris Cuomo.
Did you see? Yeah.
And he even as the Democrat he is, it's like, no, Joe has to go.
Yeah, Cuomo has been kind of losing favor with the Democrats lately.
Anybody that can watch this in the CNN poll, the most scary thing is the CNN poll still had 33% of the people, ding, 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 that said Joe Biden won. I'm like, where the fuck? How fucking high totally did you have to be?
He didn't fall over.
That's it. That's winning for Joe. And I said that to my wife, who never is. I was going to make a totally racist comment about people in movie theaters. She never talks back to the television. Every time Joe opened his mouth, oh my fucking, this guy, this is the leader of the free world. It's like, well, no, he's not really. We know that.
Definitely not. No,
he doesn't have.
Did you see or catch the clip of Gavin Newsom?
No, but
he was leaving a watch party.
Oh yeah, this is the one where they said, "Oh no, it's Joe, no doubt. He's our guy."
Yeah.
Paraphrasing.
He had the biggest fucking smile on his face. He looked like he just won the lottery. He's like, "Nope, Joe's our guy. We're gonna support him all the way." Because you can't be a Democrat without lying. So
right, then he's like, "Gotta go, got a really important meeting."
That's about it. Yeah, I gotta fly out to Washington, but I'll talk to you guys soon.
Joey is our boy.
Yeah, I'm going to fly to Washington to support our candidate.
Now, I didn't mean Cuomo's point was we have two guys, one that is incapacitated and one that is a bad human being. And I don't really believe that about Trump, that he is a destructed, something that would hurt the country. I think he may be exactly what the country needs. I understand his personality foibles, but I think Donald Trump was telling the truth when he said, if Biden wasn't as bad as he has been, I would just have retired on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, probably would.
It's just funny because that's what Biden used for getting back into the race last time.
Right, exactly, because that's what old men always say.
Oh,
I would have retired, but because of the other guy.
This guy's so bad, I had to come back.
Hey, speaking of old men, are you taking your vitamins?
Yeah, why? Which ones?
So I was watching a thing and it reminded me to reorder some. So I wanted to make sure you got yours on hand.
You got to get
your supplements. You want to take a nice big old dose of vitamin D3.
Yeah, I took 5,000 yesterday. I was normally taking 1,500s. I'm going to probably alternate those.
No. You should do at least 10,000 a day.
Yeah. See, I got worried about that when the...
No. Don't get worried.
Yeah, but there was the research that said super high doses of vitamin D can cause
not
the
super high. That's
arrhythmia.
Totally not super high.
It is for what people
Do you know
consider.
How much 1 hour of sunlight generates?
Do you know when the last time I was outside for an hour was?
But do you know what humans are supposed to be in sunlight for at least an hour a day?
No, but what does that bring in?
22,000.
Woo!
Yeah, that's 22,000 for being sunlight. If you tell me you're not in sunlight, like some other people I know, and you're not doing at least 10,000 supplementation, you're an idiot. This show does not provide medical advice.
No, of course not. And it was down a little bit on the last blood test. So yeah, I need to
Bump
bring it up a little.
I usually cycle between 10 and 15,000 a day, which works out nicely with my CO2 levels, I find.
Well, yeah, but that's because you have your body's going, where's the oxygen? Where's the oxygen? It's up, maybe up here by the ceiling.
But when you're doing 10 to 15,000 IU of vitamin D, you also want to make sure you're also taking magnesium. And
that I do twice a day.
Yeah, magnesium is very good. You're taking K1 and K2, K2 probably being more important than K1.
The K2, I think, isn't that what comes with the vitamin D? Or is that K1?
Well, if you bought it that way, yes, I mean, you could get combo packs of all this stuff for sure.
That's what I have for the D3 with the K1. I don't remember which number, but yeah, it's a K.
Good. Probably a K2 then. So it's important that you do that, because when vitamin D is increased, then you're more prone for calcium deposits. Then the magnesium counteracts that.
You don't want the calcium deposits, because that's when your arteries go bye-bye.
You want calcium to be nice and liquidy.
Flowy.
You want it to be floating around, not like accumulating in one chunk.
Yes, because that can lead to death.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Not medical advice.
It's not a medical advice at all. But avoid the death.
The death is the bad.
Yeah.
There were times during that debate I was thinking Joey was just going to go. When he was breathing heavy, he was at one point, his eyes were like super open.
His eyes were like looking at ghosts or something. Yeah.
Well, what I said, now is this a good?
Oh, and potassium. Don't forget potassium.
Oh, you have to do potassium.
Yeah.
I usually do that with a banana or two a day, but I also have the supplements. So, it's in the diet. But Joey, remember the Jim Carrey movie Mask? That was Joey's face yesterday. It was not a good look. If you mean his face is totally disconnected from his skull, then yes, I would agree. That's what it looked like. It was not a good look. And I mean, the best line was one that came early, and I saw it right after in the clip. And I love the way Donald Trump delivered it, because it wasn't mean. It wasn't sarcastic. It was very matter-of-factly when they went to him and he said, I don't know what Joe just said at the end there, and I don't think he does either.
Yeah. Like, that's literally what everybody was thinking.
Right.
Because that was a long-ass run-on sentence that disconnected 3 or 4 different topics.
And when people put 2 and 2 together in their head, if they can't, I know a lot can't, that this guy is the one allegedly running the country.
Yeah, I don't understand why Barack wasn't there helping him. I mean, he's the one actually running the country.
And I also want to point out the story. And again, I understand news stories can be off with their factual capabilities. But they said there were 21 advisors with Biden the week before leading up to this, getting him ready. 21 people, and this was the best they could do? Yeah. That's concerning.
Now, you remember everybody was surprised 4 years ago at his debate with Trump when he was very spry and all of a sudden seemed like he had lost 5 to 10 years off his age at that point. And that didn't happen this time.
I'm wondering if the call is coming from inside the house. I'm wondering if his people, rather than jacking Joe up, I wonder if they jacked him down.
I don't think so.
Or just didn't give him anything.
No, I think they gave him stuff. Because he stayed awake for the entire thing. And that's a miracle in and of itself. And I'm not even kidding about that. I'm not trying to be funny, because it was a fairly late time-wise debate.
Also true.
And it wasn't, I mean, I think they used to be at 7 p.m., didn't they?
That's as I remember them, because I thought it was late to start at 8 Central.
And it was like at 9:30 or something?
Yeah, I think it started at 8 Central.
Did it really? I thought it was 9. Okay.
It was 9 Eastern.
9 Eastern.
And that's where they are. I mean, Joey's normal. I mean, I guess if he's ever at the White House.
Oh, well, don't forget, CNN had a 1 hour delay on their broadcast during the event.
They did not.
Just in case. They felt like it.
Well, the interesting thing was this was the debate format that Joey's people specifically requested all up and down the line.
Best case scenario for them.
Right. The network they wanted. It gave them no audience. It gave everything except Joey wanted to sit down. They got what they wanted. And this seems to have been the worst thing possible for Joey because part of this, and I don't know why anybody, I mean, I get it because both of these candidates have a tendency to say things that aren't 100% true. They exaggerate both. And without the instant fact checking, and this was the only way I think this could have been done fairly. And I think CNN, because they've lost a lot of money recently, a lot of viewers were worried that they were going to look like the bully and keep fact checking Trump and then be cheerleading for Biden. So CNN, I think, pulled this off magnificently, as much as I hate to say it.
I think they did a very good job, actually. I was surprised at how good a job they had because the only bit that was very clearly cheerleading for Biden was that they would interrupt Biden when he started rambling to keep him from rambling.
Right. Remember,
and
Mr.
so
President,
they would move on. Yeah. And there's like, well, we're going to, they figured out some way to wrap it up for him rather than just letting him keep mumbling about a variety of topics that are not connected to anything.
Yeah, I liked when you just got the mumbling.
I think it was good.
The mumbling and then, you still have a minute and 40 seconds, Mr. President. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Although that happened once or twice to Trump, too, where the answer was quick.
Yeah, it was. I do like the no audience. I think audience is a waste of time. I also like the non-interrupting format, which is that they're not allowed to interrupt. They have to wait until a question's asked. That's more of a standard debate format anyway.
Yes.
For real debates.
And it made Trump seem way more presidential.
Yes. Yeah.
Rather than constantly
I think it was good for Trump. Yeah.
Now, I want to know, did you notice how many times Joey touched his ear? And this is going to lead, of course, to speculation that he was wearing an earwig.
He absolutely was. There's no way he wasn't, because the only alternative would have been a teleprompter.
Right.
Because his answers were mumble, 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 and then say like 2 sentences perfectly. Like that he allegedly knows something about this topic, and then back to either mumbling or saying absolute fabricated lies. When he said that the Border Patrol Union endorsed him,
right, or the police,
and then the tweet came out literally 2 minutes later saying the Border Patrol Union has never and will never endorse Biden. It's like, okay, yeah. There's plenty of those to go around. There were a lot of accusations about Trump. There was certainly the, well, you're the guy who liked all those Nazis in the parade 4 years ago, you know, like stuff that's completely been,
and I thought
disproven.
Right. And I thought Trump handled that fairly well, because he said to the moderators, like, you've already debunked this. Your network, most people already have, you know, anybody that wants to look that one up, it's obvious, especially go look up the Michael Rappaport video, who was totally anti-Trump, very vocal about it. And there's a great video of him admitting, I realized the news media and Democrats were lying to me about that statement. And here's the proof.
Rappaport has kind of been a canary in the coal mine for lefty Hollywood thinking, because he clearly not too bright a guy. And I think he genuinely believed everything that he'd heard or read.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, he had to be full of hate and vitriol for Trump as a result of what he read and heard about him. And then slowly all of that started unwinding as he started realizing, hold on, the media is lying about Israel.
Right.
And what else are they lying about? And he's coming to grips with the fact that all this shit that he was very impassioned about was predominantly lies. And going so far as to saying, I still don't like him, but I might have to vote for Trump.
And the intriguing thing is, how many points do you think Trump gained strictly on Hamas going in and attacking Israel and the fallout of that? That's been huge as far as...
I think so, because really it's kind of ironic because the Democrats historically were the biggest recipients of Israeli, and not just Israeli, but just, Jewish support money in the United States. Most Jews are Democrats, or at least the Jews that are political tend to be Democrats. There's plenty of Jews that just, live their lives and run their businesses, work in their law firms or doctor's offices or whatever, and never really get too heavily into politics. But the Jews that are political and vocal about it tend to be Democrats. So it was interesting because the Democrats quickly went to their default position of, well, we support the little guy, and therefore Hamas. And then within a matter of 1 week, they were like, oh, shit. I mean, we support Israel, but also Israel needs to stop hurting the little guy.
Right.
And they're like bouncing back and forth between we like Jews and we like Hamas. And ultimately, blood's thicker than water. You're not going to get people donating money to you when you're supporting somebody that killed a friend of a friend of a friend of theirs.
Right. That are terrorists.
It doesn't work that way.
That are hiding even if they weren't terrorists,
it doesn't even matter. Like the Ukraine thing, right? Nobody's a terrorist in Ukraine.
I think there are quite a few, but okay.
Well, yes.
You're right. The media is not portraying them as
they're
such.
not. It's a war. I think Ukraine is a real war. There's not terrorism going on. There's certainly some bombing of civilians, which is normal in the war.
Because there are two states and they have armies.
That happens. So they use American bombs to bomb people sunbathing on the beach, and the Americans the Russians are using their bombs to bomb NATO centers.
Did you find it interesting that Joey took offense to the amount of money that Trump said was going over there, and then justified it by saying, "No, we're not sending money. We're sending weapons." Well,
and that's actually true.
I know,
for the
most part. What's the difference when it comes to the hit that it's having on?
Yeah.
It's like we're still paying for these weapons, right?
Oh, we are. But okay, so here's the subtlety, and I talked about this, I think, with Ben last week. Is that
that we're making the weapons?
Yes, it's where does the money actually go there, or does it stay in the United States? And for the most part, it is staying in the United States. All we're doing is we're ensuring some very good years for the military industrial complex, because they're at full production. They are maxed out right now. And so that's a good thing for them. It is to some extent helping the U.S. economy. Weapons manufacturers tend to employ more people here because there's regulations against actually utilizing out of country contractors for a lot of these things. So it's not a horrible thing. And I'm also one of the people that's argued that the thing that got the U.S. out of the Great Depression was World War II.
Well, yeah, it was good for building and making money and businesses growing. Exactly.
It's like when the government becomes a very large consumer of U.S. products, you don't want to have that be happening in the long run. That's a recipe for disaster. But in the short run, having the government spend money with private businesses is good for the economy. Doing things like the Hoover Dam project and all these big projects like the highways that were built in the 1940s. These are all things that help get the economy because they employ people. The employed people have more money to spend. They utilize business products that are made by U.S. companies. So these are all things that are actually good for the economy. The problem is you can't have it be happening long term because companies that have the government as a teat to suck on, and a good example of this is all the aerospace companies. they stop innovating because the government isn't really looking for competition. It's looking for repeatability. It's looking for the same product over and over and over and over. And so these companies just charge more money for basically putting out the exact same thing over and over and over.
Well, yeah, they get rich and then they're finished. They don't care.
They get used to it too. Yeah. So they have zero reason to innovate to make other products that aren't as profitable as these several that the government's buying.
Because you can make the best damn cookies in the world. If the government starts buying 1 million of them a day, you start cutting back, and they're not that good anymore, but they're still buying 1 million a day, and then you start cutting back even more on the ingredients, and they still keep buying 1 million a day, and you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It's great for the stockholders.
If you want to.
So that being the difference, but we're certainly not spending 100% of the money in the U.S. We're still shipping probably somewhere around 30% of the money allocated to Ukraine. We're actually shipping as funds that are available to Ukraine to spend, because that's what's driving the kickback machine. All these U.S. politicians, and maybe I shouldn't say all, but plenty of U.S. politicians are getting kickback deals from Ukraine. And so that's got to be paid for somehow as well. That's paid for with actual money transfers going there. And then instead of money being spent on things like humanitarian purposes, it's being siphoned off to make a lot of people very rich, meaning the Ukrainian oligarchs, and some people somewhat rich, and that would be the U.S. politicians that are funneling the money there. And it's I'm not saying somebody's actually getting a wire transfer into their bank account. God, no. No, they're being a lot more creative and semi-legitimate and legal about it. They have all their kids working there.
Right. Totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, clearly, because no one has ever gotten in trouble for having a kid work at Burisma.
No. And if you want to support Unrelenting, where's our kickbacks? Where are our rocket launchers?
I think it must be that our nodes are down or something. I don't know, man.
Well, your node is down. That was 2 hours of fun yesterday. Gene's like, where's my money? Where's my node? What happened? And
I just told Darren I fucked around with this long enough by myself. I'll split the money with you if you want to help fuck around with this.
Well, that was getting a voltage account was your first mistake.
Thank you, Adam Curry.
Do they get back to you?
No, I can't blame them too much. I mean, at the time, that was literally one of the very few options that allowed you to set up an account that would do Lightning.
Now
no, they haven't gotten back to me. Are you kidding? That process is usually a week.
The question would be, can you get to does anybody have a voltage account? Maybe somebody listening to hear would.
I doubt it, but maybe.
But if they do, and if they know if there's a way how to access your node, which everybody's got their own node, they have its own address. If you can access that via SSH to go in and initiate commands that aren't available in the apps that they give you. You're getting into the weeds here. The bottom line is I try to open a channel, which is
and
stuck.
Only people that know this node stuff are going to know about it. Open a channel about 6 months ago. Turns out, I thought it was a couple of months. Turns out it's 6 months ago. And like every channel, the first step is it sends all the info, propagates it via Bitcoin to fund the channel. And during that time, the channel shows us pending, and usually that takes about a day, sometimes a few hours, and then it comes back as an open channel. Well, this has been stuck in pending for 6 months. If I click on the transaction, the funding transaction for the channel, it shows that it's in there. It's funded. It's been checksummed, or whatever the phrase is, by over 20,000 people over that amount of time. So it's part of the blockchain. The funding of that channel is part of the blockchain. However, until that channel sends back a reply saying, yes, I'm funded, I got, it's a confirmation. It's whatever it says, but the bottom line is it's waiting on a confirmation. One would think there would be a timeout period.
Yeah.
But apparently not, because it's been waiting on a confirmation for 6 months, which means I've got like $700 sitting in this channel that's tied up and can't be touched until the confirmation comes in, at which point then I can use the channel to send that money somewhere else. or I can close the channel and reclaim that money. And in this limbo state that I've been in for 6 months, I can't do either.
Right. Well, because in the voltage interface, there is no way to force close or do anything with a channel that's pending. So
yeah, you can force close an open channel, but you can't force close a pending channel.
And the data we found by doing the search online was like, oh, you just go into do the command line. It's like, well, does voltage give you the command line? Or
hell no.
That would be too easy, or they should have something like, hey, if you need something done, click here. We've got monkeys working that can do it for you.
It's no, well, and that I would highly doubt they can do because they're not supposed to have access to any of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, they might be able to.
Everything's encrypted.
True.
So
there has
and
to
as
be
we found out, there's multiple layers of passwords, some of which you can't change.
Right, which is even more fun. A password that you can't change is the ultimate insecurity issue.
I know, right? It's great. And it says, when you open up a new channel, make sure you select and write down your password because you can't change it. What?
And then if somebody else figures it out, bye-bye. You got to just...
yeah, because you can't change it.
Right. So you have to close everything and start over.
Technically, if somebody gets that channel password, they can't really do anything other than close your channel, which would give the money back to you. So it's not like a horrible thing.
And you'd be winning.
But yeah, I don't know about that. But well, I would be, because right now I'm in limbo, and anything's better than limbo.
Well, and you also sent a Bitcoin transaction out that never got there.
And I suspect that's sitting as a pending outgoing transaction, waiting on a channel to be opened.
It's possible that could be. That is possible. Wow.
I think it's fairly likely.
Of course, CSB would bother us with a 3333 boost saying go to www.singularity.express. Thanks, CSB.
Yeah, what's that?
It is his new website with all of his...
Oh, he's got a new one.
Yeah. Oh. His doodling now. And if you can help us with the voltage thing, that would be...
No, I asked him already. I asked him before I asked you.
Well, gee, really? You go to CSB before you go to me? What kind of podcast friend are you, Gene?
Exactly. I'm a podcast friend. Yeah, no, he declined, so I had to bother you.
CSB's like, Gene, I do not want your money. No. I do not want your Satoshi. No. We love CSB.
No, he said, no, he I'm not going to say what he said, but anyway.
But that has to be the answer is voltage has to either give you the ability to
shut down a pending channel.
Yeah, to do the behind the scenes, to go do the command line, or you can't be the first person that this has happened to.
I know. I can't imagine it, but I put the ticket in both on their support system and in their Discord, and we'll see who replies first.
Discord is the most useless thing in the history of useless.
No, I disagree with you on that. Discord is utilized by a shit ton of people and pretty much any gaming company these days.
It depends on the community.
If you want to have a question, you got to use Discord.
Now, if there's a big user base that knows what they're doing, it's great. When the 99% of the people in the Discord server are asking questions and nobody's answering, less helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot less helpful. That's true.
But that is
agree with you on that. But there might be, people asking a question every 5 minutes and they only answer them once a day. That could be it too.
But the intriguing thing would be if the Bitcoin going out had to go over the Lightning Network. My thought would always be like when you fund it, when I set up my node on my own hardware, I had to there's a Bitcoin wallet that I had to send the money to before it would then feed that to the Lightning wallet. Because the Lightning, so it's like you would think that going out
and I
would do the same thing.
3 years ago, but I think I had a similar thing. I had to actually use my account over at whatchamacallits, the guys you buy a Bitcoin from, Coinbase. I had to use that to then send money to the Bitcoin address of this node.
And then filter it to Lightning.
And then that node then has Bitcoin, which it can use to create the channels on the Lightning Network. So it's technically, at least I thought, it was storing everything as Bitcoin. and it was using that to fund the actual channels on the Lightning side. Maybe it was always stored as sats on the Lightning side after you fund it initially. I have no idea. But either way, it sure seems like it's a very likely explanation that the reason that the outgoing Bitcoin transaction is pending as well is because there are 0 active channels right now. And the one that's using a lot of money out of that account is a pending open channel. So if that channel was either open, then presumably transactions would go through, or if that channel was canceled and I can then get those sats back to use to open another channel to somebody, this time around, probably somebody that I would trust more.
Right. Well, but the Umbral thing actually works really well as of now. I mean, this is...
Yeah, keep talking, buddy.
I know. You'd want to knock on wood.
Better be knocking on wood while you're doing this, yeah.
And CSB knows the magic way to get the messages right to us. That is to send us a boostagram. Go to Podcasting 2.0's newpodcastapps.com to find out more. He says, don't be offended, Darren. I just know absolutely nothing about Lightning nodes, so I could not help Gene. I wasn't offended. CSB, this is all...
God, I can't believe you're offended this much, Darren. You're such an offensive person.
This is all theater of the mind. We are performers here. We are entertainers in the guise of Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, I am a great entertainer. I can tap dance. I can sing. I can dance. I'm more in
guise of Dean Martin myself.
Oh, Dean was the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sinatra was cool, but Dean Martin was super cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Like, Dean Martin didn't have to work at it.
Right. Well, I'm sure he did, but that's what it appeared, that Dean was kind of like, yeah, I don't really care that I'm cool, where Sinatra tried harder,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sinatra had to try real hard.
But Dean just kind of like walks into the room and goes, hey, Pally. And then that was it.
Mm-hmm.
You'd want to be Dean's buddy. You'd want to sit there, have a few beers.
Oh, Sinatra wanted to be his buddy for sure.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Dean was a lot of fun until he was calling the cops on his own parties. I mean, there's great stories.
Hey, man, a lot of people have done that. Don't
really?
knock
Have
that.
you ever tried that? That's great.
If
if you know the cops well enough. Like, can you do me a favor?
Well, how else are you supposed to get your guests out?
I've got this
to leave.
Got this big party going. I want it over, and I don't want to be the dick that kicks people out. So, can you guys help me out? I'll buy you dinner.
Yeah,
buy you a Ferrari, whatever.
Oh, they enjoyed it. They don't even need to get bribed, man. They enjoy busting parties. Come on.
Well, it is fun. I mean, it's a better part of the job than going to a domestic disturbance.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Digi Guru says all your Bitcoin belong to us. Yeah, that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, I know. That's definitely the way it feels. Yeah.
And as you pointed out yesterday, every program, every app, every website you go to that deals with the Lightning Network is like, this is all very experimental and all your money may disappear.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, don't put like more than $50 into this, as all of us have nodes with thousands of dollars sitting on it.
Exactly.
Like, no, this seems totally legit.
And it is. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that are sad here. One of the things that's sad is over the course of 3 years, I've actually spent more money paying for the node than the amount of money that's come in donations. That's one sad thing.
What's your total donations coming in? Do you know, like in sats
I think it was, I never hit 2 million sats. It was like 1.5, 1.6 million sats, something like that.
Well, that's nothing, man.
I know.
I noticed what program? Oh, it was in the one, because there's a bunch of these other programs which
so that's the first part. The second part is, okay, had I actually still had access to those sats, then I could take them out and be like, well, I guess I broke even. Now that sucks. No, it's worse than that. All the sats that I put in there are tied up, and I never got any of them out of there to actually utilize to anything. So other than a few other people that I sent sats to, they're essentially stuck in limbo, potentially lost forever.
Yeah, but somebody's got them, right? They're out there.
No, nobody's got them. That's my point. Is limbo's limbo. Hand. That means nobody's got them.
Somebody's got to have them.
No.
It's got to be somewhere.
They don't. No.
They're in between.
That's not how it works, dude.
They're in transit.
They're in transit for 6 months because it's lightning.
It's supposed to be fast then, right? Fast as lightning. Isn't that the...
That's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Supposed to be
this is not like slow like Bitcoin that might take an hour to trade. No, this is lightning. It's instant.
Now, I looked this up
until it doesn't work.
On Saturn, which is another one of these apps that connects to Albi.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dumbfounded by this, that my top contributor, and this goes, I think, over multiple shows, but a lot with the Rock and Roll Pre-Show, Neil Jones, the clip custodian, has sent me 1,743,608 Satoshis. So Neil alone
he's donated about what I got in 3 years of Sir Gene Speaks. Yeah, exactly.
That's
now,
crazy.
To be fair, Neil also gets a slice from every No Agenda show ever produced.
I know, and he's awesome for supporting other shows.
Which means he's getting those sats for free.
Well.
And he's just forwarding them too.
Satoshis for nothing and your chicks for free. That is the dream.
They're not for nothing. He does actually a job, so he's getting paid money for doing work. So I guess that in that regard, they're not free, but he doesn't have to go and buy them like by converting US dollars to them.
Yeah, the value for value system works. And I will point out our buddy comic strip blogger as well. I mean, I might make him stop donating on here, but
yeah, you probably will.
He's under two different names. The first one is his full name, comic strip blogger. 796,150 Satoshis.
Jesus Christ.
And then he's on here under CSB as well, which is at a lower amount. Because he mainly goes by comic strip blogger, but CSB was on here too with a decent amount of Satoshis. Here it is, with another 112,000 Satoshis. So right now, you're about 900,000 Satoshis. You can hit that million mark, CSB, get a coffee mug. What do you want, buddy?
Are you sending out coffee mugs for a million?
I have, yeah. For
really?
For the Rock and Roll Pre-Show, and we have some made up for a Planet Rage. I mean, if anybody wants an Unrelenting one, I can make them. So if you want to, donate to the show. But Sir Nubbin also was under two different names on here. One was 1.5 million and one was 582,000. So there was somebody that actually has beat out Neil Jones, the clip custodian.
No.
See, podcasting 2.0 works for some shows and for others.
Yeah, when you steal music, it works great.
It works awesome when you entertain people. Oh, and I will point out, I mean, since we don't have any...
Hold on. Are you saying we don't entertain people?
I think we do. And I got in the mail. That might not come through because I will run through
it came through, all right.
I know, but it might not. Because on the final result, you may not hear it.
Yeah.
But this came through in a very suspicious looking envelope that was return addressed Les Go Brandon, which is a great name.
Nice.
I will give him that. And it just said northwest of Canada with a zip code on here. And it was a money order, which I took it to the post office. And the girl just looked at me like, hey, can't say. I'm like, really? You can't? I'm like, where do I take this? Your bank? It's like, well, wait. I thought the whole idea of postal money orders was to make this nice and easy. Yeah. People buy them at the post office, and then you can go cash them in at the post office. But no.
I'm not sure they're allowed to not cash them.
That's kind of what I thought, but it's like, arguing with government employees.
Yeah, you get enough of that from your wife.
I know. Well, now that she works for the government, I'm like, ooh. That's where I've learned. I'm like, if you really want to piss off government employees, send FOIA requests. You can bury them with FOIA requests, and it's very little, if any, money for you, and you could just make them miserable.
Yeah, well, it's just photocopying fees, if I remember right.
And but they have to pull up everything. It's great. But the note that came through with this said, for the hardest working man in podcasting and the major factotum who keeps it all going, take a C note for yourself and your overhead. The money order was for $200.
Wow.
And he said, split the other C note amongst the online talent, Grumpy, Basie, and Ruski. So I think you're Ruski. I'm not.
I could be grumpy too.
True. Like I could take 2 out of the 3.
Yeah. I'm still working on how to do the Basie bit.
Yeah, well, you have to have this. You have to big bottom it. You got to bring the big bottom in.
Big bottom it. Yeah.
You got to get that working again. I still
got to send you your goddamn big bottom that I promised you that I still haven't sent you.
You got to get that big bottom working.
Pain. Well, no, you got to get it working. I just need to send it to you.
Be like, what's come on, man?
Worry about getting it working.
Come on, AFAX, get me some working gear. My gear don't work.
It was, yeah. I mean, I like my bet is it's probably a power supply that you have to replace for $100. And then you'll have $1,000 rig, which
sadly was inside the unit, not one. It's like this is one of the few, right, that didn't have a wall wart. It's like, come on.
Yeah. This is a rack mount, so it had enough space in it. It's full 18-inch unit, giggity, and it had enough space in it for a power supply. So,
well, that's beauty because I got two that are full rack sitting right here on the desk. Mm-hmm. Which is my Apex big bottom, but it's the 204. So it's not a full channel strip. It is just the oral exciter and big bottom.
It has the cool thing about it is it has the analog in and then the digital processing post preamp. So it has an analog preamp and the digital all the way through after that. So I thought at the time, at least, back like 6-7 years, that was the best combination because the alternative in channel strips was a full analog all the way through.
Right, which is nice. And it's got its own
then you'd
style.
have to plug into like a Motu or something.
Correct,
which I do. Which this, you don't have to do that with because it's all digital. And you can actually just run a digital line to the Motu.
Nice.
And that way it's already sampled in the AFAX unit and then comes into the Motu as pure digital.
Well, I have my Electro Voice RE20 feeding out to the...
Oh, you're back to the 20? You keep swapping.
It's been normally using the 20.
I thought you had the 320 for a while.
No, rarely. I think I've ever used it on the show. I can try it.
Oh, you've talked about it. I've talked
about the SM7B. I've tried that.
Yeah, you
That's
did that.
Been on the show.
And the mic that CSB's been recommending lately is the USB version of the SM7B.
Yeah, there were a couple of different versions. Bandrew didn't like the latest one, I think, because
really
the USB in the first version, the USB sounded better than the XLR because it's got double things on outputs.
It's got both.
Where the new one, he's like the USB doesn't sound as good as the XLR, so they changed something in
Interesting, because this one's called the Plus, so you would think it's better.
No, it depends what you want to use it for, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I go into the cloud lifter because you got to have a cloud lifter on your RE20 or your SM7B. At least it helps. Which then feeds into the Symmetrix 528E processor, which came out of a small radio station somewhere, and I bought it on eBay. But this is what was recommended by the guy that owns WCKG here. He's like, oh, yeah, we've used these. They're great. And I bought it, and it was definitely a step up from the DBX 286, which is still a nice channel strip.
Obviously.
But this thing was, when it was new, I think was $1,000-$1,200, something like that. Now you can pick them up for a couple $100 on eBay because, as you said, everybody going digital.
Oh, yeah.
But the nice thing is it's got of course, the amplifier. So you've got that. You got your preamp. Yeah. You got your de-esser, which I don't use. It's got your compressor, and then it's got your EQ. But each one of those channels, you can punch in between those. So I go to the end, and then I punch in to the AFAX 204 with the big bottom, bring it back into the AFAX, and then that goes from the AFAX into the Symmetrix, and then goes back into the Motu, and that's the magic.
Yeah, except all that crap is analog.
Yeah, but analog's good, man. That's the way radio always was. Why do you want digital? Why do you want to be a digital
quality? Man? Dude, radio is audio tape quality. It's not even CD quality.
Yeah, Gene, I have no idea what you're talking about. Radio sounds really good. AM radio. It has that nice warmth.
By the way, this is what Darren actually sounds like, guys, before he has to tweak his voice.
Well, that's the overmodulated. This is
sure. Let's pretend that's what overmodular sounds like. Yes,
this is what it sounds like without the apex. Just getting rid of the oral exciter.
That's Darren with a stuffy nose right there.
That's just turning off the oral exciter in big bottom. The difference that thing makes is amazing. This is with it off. This is with it on. It's just like magic.
Yes, and you start talking like this away.
I think you have to. And then if you turn off the EQ overall, well, then yes. Gene
okay,
hates this part.
I'm looking at that Apex box. I'm going to make a note to find a Amazon box of approximately the correct size. Just put it in so it doesn't get wrecked in the mail.
Right.
And then I'll ship it out to you.
Wait, Gene, we are the Seinfeld of podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Do you not remember? So you take that? It's a perfectly working unit, right, Gene? Before you send it in the mail.
I know it is. That's why would I be shipping a non-working unit to you? That makes no sense. I'll make sure I'll get the full amount of the insurance on
it. Get the full insurance and
the full insurance, the maxed out insurance on it. Yes.
Nobody has ever thought of this scam ever before.
No. Brand new. I don't know any friends that did this 20 years ago with laptops.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do still like
if your laptop has a broken screen, it must have broken it during shipment, right?
I think so. Yeah. You probably didn't drop that during a rage of video game playing.
No. I mean, you probably stepped in it.
I mean, everybody knows the Best Buy return, which is anything that breaks after 6 months to a year and you feel like it should still be under warranty. You're like, they still sell it? Oh, yeah. Cool.
You buy it.
You buy it, you return it.
Now, Amazon won't do that on electronics because they actually track serial numbers.
See, they're smart then.
Smarter.
But it all depends on how closely they look.
Wow. Well, they're smart, but then they ship the wrong damn product to you.
Well, this is, and according to Mimi Dvorak, this one I hadn't heard, that some of the Amazon warehouses now have a cockroach problem, so open up your boxes outside. I'm like, really? She opened up a box and a little cockroach ran out? Now that's not good.
I don't know if that's that big a deal, honestly. We have cockroaches the size of Buicks here in Texas.
Well, you can
live
ride
outside,
them.
Man. They're native. They're like native cockroaches. They speak Spanish and everything.
Wow.
The cucarachas. Yeah.
Si, senor.
Yeah. We have Mexican bats and Spanish cockroaches living here.
You are on our land, gringo.
No, they're happy to share the land because that's where they get the food from, is from you.
You go out in Gene's bag. Some people feed the ducks or the squirrels.
Speaking of critters that are annoying,
I didn't know we were talking about
I had a little bit of a fruit fly issue.
Did you have a lot of fruit?
I had one thing of bananas.
That's enough.
Well, apparently they live in those because I all of a sudden my entire house is full of fruit flies.
Really? How many are we talking? Like 1 or 20?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah, they moved in with all their friends and relatives. And
then they opened the front door. They're like, come on in. It's like Joe Biden in here.
Then, well, I think they started having babies, born in this country.
Right. And your bananas.
Well, the bananas got consumed and or thrown away pretty quickly. Here's the problem. When you throw a banana out that's been brown and clearly has fruit flies that live in the surrounding area, that's a problem because I did that. And, apparently fruit flies eat bananas. And so when the bananas are in the trash, the fruit fly have a ready supply of food that probably tastes and smells even better because it's now rotting.
Well, yeah,
and I think they kind of enjoy that stuff.
Yeah, the more the banana goes down that road, the sweeter it gets.
Yeah, exactly. And they kind of like that. And so they're sitting there and breeding in my trash. Now, I didn't realize this was happening, and then I went on my trip that I was gone on to Seattle. And when I came home,
always empty the
garbage. I thought, I forgot to throw the trash out before I went on my trip. So it probably is a little stinky. So I went and opened up the cupboard where I keep trash. And when I opened the trash bin, the top of the trash bin.
Was it like buzzing? Did you hear it before you even hit the bin?
There's no buzzing, but no, there's all kinds of little grubs crawling on it.
Wow.
Like 100 grubs. Like the whole damn thing was covered with little, they're miniature because they're fruit flies. They're not as big as normal fly grubs, but little wormy things, right? That's what their first stage of reproduction is they're little grubs. They're too small to fish with. I used to fish with the regular grubs, but they're definitely not pleasant to look at or think about. Each one's going to turn into a fruit fly. So I took the whole damn thing out, put it outside in the heat. I figured the heat will probably kill them because they're not used to this weather. And then, sure enough, after 24 hours of my garbage can sitting outside, it was totally clean. I don't know if it was the birds that came and ate the grubs, which I would kind of expect, or
they're like,
or if they just dried out because of the heat, or what the hell happened. But I was able to bring the trash can back in, and it was at that point totally clean.
You have learned a vital lesson. Do not leave garbage in the house.
Yeah, don't leave garbage sitting out when you're traveling. If you have one fruit fly, take all your garbage immediately out of the house, because it will find where your garbage sits, fly there, and start laying eggs. And then I did the oldest fashioned thing that you could possibly do, which is I bought fly paper.
Ooh, that's old school.
Super old school. And I hung 2 places in my house where I saw the fruit flies. I hung the fly paper thinking that, like, this has got to be the only way to catch those stupid things, because they're too fast to really like swipe and kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're annoying because they'd like to buzz around where their CO2 is high, which is
your house, right?
Yeah. And so the fly paper works miraculously well. I've got, in fact, I don't think I need it anymore. I can now throw it away because the house is free of fruit flies once more. But I'll bet you one strip probably has about 30 or 40 fruit flies stuck to it, and the other one probably 20.
Interesting. From the Washington.
And if you've never seen modern fly paper, it comes in a little tube, kind of reminiscent of the cases that we had back in film camera days.
Right.
It's about that size. And then you just pull on the top, and it's like wound in just like film was back in the old days.
Then you like stick it out somewhere.
Yeah. And you just, it comes with a little loop on top that you both use to pull it out and hang it from something, because it's super sticky. All it is just paper with very gooey glue on both sides. So anything that lands on there of sufficiently small size is now got its feet stuck to it.
We do have a fruit fly expert, Billy Bones, from a Walk Through the Mind podcast, who said fly paper works great for fruit flies, but not for regular flies.
Oh, really? They don't land on it, or what? They just are too strong to stick to it?
Probably. The flies are like, haha, this is not sticky enough for me.
Yeah, well, it definitely works for fruit flies, for sure.
The Washington Examiner reporting in a landmark decision, the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of January 6th defendant, former Pennsylvania police officer Joseph Fisher, significantly affecting the Justice Department's approach to prosecuting those involved in the January 6th Capitol riot. A 6-3 decision.
Yeah. Well, there was this is very good because it's actually a legal case, but there's also a new bill introduced. All right. I don't even know if it's a bill technically. I think it's just a vote. I don't think they need a bill for it, done in the House to invalidate the legitimacy of the January 6th Commission of the House.
Yeah, which is a joke, which is where a lot of the charges stemmed from. So the committee found all these things that they didn't like, and then people got charged by actual prosecutors for violating those things. Well, now the House is run by Republicans, although mostly rhinos, frankly.
and it's a it's something. I guess they can invalidate a previous committee and call it null and void, and therefore actually take away, or let's put it this way: they're going to create a path for people that have been charged with January 6th shit.
Yes.
To be able to appeal based on this change, because kind of like if the cops had no reason to search you and they found something, that then you can't count what they found,
right? Because
they shouldn't have found it. I think in a similar fashion here, the without the January 6th committee hearings creating these pseudo charges, that a lot of people will be able to get their sentences reversed on appeal.
Yeah, more than 50 pled guilty, so this will be interesting for those.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how does that work? If you plead guilty to something that turns out to have been a fake charge,
right?
Do you still have to serve out your time?
Maybe not. I think this goes right down the line of what Donald Trump has been saying all along, which is these are all, forgive the pun, trumped up charges.
They are trumped up. Totally.
And this is where he also came out strong in the debate, I believe. And you could see the confusion on Joey's face. I was glad there was a split screen at the time when Trump was like, all of this is just making my numbers go up, making the donations coming in go up. And I mean, Biden didn't know how to process that.
Yep.
And there's no question. Anybody can pretend that this isn't political. And you saw exactly why, because other people are doing it. And also Joe Biden, convicted felon. And that's why I loved when Trump's like, well, your son's a convicted felon.
He remembered to use that line, convicted felon. Yes.
He also used illegal immigrant, though. So that was interesting. Joey, not on the right side of your party there.
Yep. No.
But the whole, you're a felon. And I did think it was interesting. You could tell he was coached on trying to be the tough Joe Biden, because a couple of times like, I can't believe you asked. It's like he couldn't even spit out the words. It's like, Joey, as much as I hate what this guy has done to the country, at some point it becomes elder abuse. Whether you hate
people
the guy
are saying
like
that. I don't give a shit. I don't see anything wrong with abusing elders.
Oh, wow. There's an opener. There is an opener.
Oh, shit. I thought that was going to be the final line of the show. I guess I'm 2 minutes late.
This is the dude. It's only 11.
Oh, I'm an hour and 2 minutes late or earlier or something. Right. I don't know. Well, whatever. Anyway,
you need some of that stronger tea. I don't know what you got going on.
I've not drank that much of it, to tell you the truth. I do need some stronger tea. I was up really late too. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep, but it was.
Well, you were really annoyed by the whole lightning thing.
I was.
I was
definitely annoyed by lightning. And then I was annoyed at myself for losing some memory.
I mean, from of a computer or of actually your.
I know, it's the irony of it, right? So I couldn't find a couple of computer memory sticks that I swore I had and bought and paid for like 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't find the goddamn things. Had to reorder.
Wait, so you ordered them because there's got to be a record online.
Oh yeah, there's a record of me ordering it. Absolutely.
You remember receiving them?
I'm pretty sure they showed up. Yeah,
and then
that was before my trip.
You lost your memory.
Before my trip, and I lost memory.
That's a great.
I've genuinely lost memory. I know.
Gene loses memory.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very true.
So I was like, eventually I'm like, well, I may end up finding them at some point, but I need them right now. I'm going to have to bite the bullet and just reorder.
Well, yeah, you got a big honking machine there. I mean, you got, so that's not cheap memory, I'm guessing either. Or was this for something besides your gaming rig?
No, it's for a gaming laptop.
Because I've weaned myself off the Lego guy on YouTube.
Oh, good.
And I've gone back to watching Linus. And
yeah.
He does some funny stuff, man. But he was in, was it Hong Kong? It had to be, where he just went into and there was like a whole mall full of tech stores. Why don't we have this?
I've been there.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And he just goes up and tells the guy he wants the best thing that he could build for 5,000 American, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted to see how honest the guy was going to be because he acted like a rube, although the guy had to know him, right? I mean,
I don't know, man.
In that business, do you not? I mean,
I don't think you watch. How many international computer shows do you watch?
True, not a lot.
Yeah.
But he is one of the top, probably
he's
top
the biggest
10
tech show. No, he's the biggest
the top
tech
earner
show
in tech. Is he bigger
on
than
YouTube?
Is he bigger than Marquez? I know, but it's a different show.
No. It's a different show. Marquez is not a tech guy. Marquez is a box opener. And I say that
with all the love.
And I enjoy it. Yeah,
respect.
I enjoy watching Marquez, and I think he's got pretty good opinions. I tend to agree with him.
He's a reviewer.
But really, for the last decade, he's done nothing but open boxes.
Product reviews, right. I mean, that's mainly
They're barely
what he does.
product reviews. They're like pre-release, promo, pseudo-advertising for the company with a little bit of review.
I've seen him rip some products, but you're right, not a lot.
He has totally ripped products, but his reviews, they contain no technical details at all. You won't know diddly squat about the product. You're going to know what his opinion about the product is. You're not going to learn about the product.
I agree. But, he's one of the few people that Barack Obama sat down and talked to. I mean, there's some big people that if Marquez says, hey, you want to be on my channel? Like, oh, sure.
Oh, dude, he gets everything before. Like, he gets the Tesla Cybertruck a day before everybody else.
Well, he should. He's way better than us.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I'm still waiting
it.
for my goddamn email to show up saying mine's ready. And at this point, I'm obviously not getting it. It's a pretty crappy product.
Gene, it's your buddy Elon. Come on down. Your truck is ready.
It is my buddy Elon. And I still like the way it looks, but just watching all the people that have actually bought them, everyone's either trying to get rid of theirs or they're clearly trying to put on a brave face about it. I was like, well,
right.
I'm sure it'll get better over time.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a firmware update, Gene. Everything will be fixed.
Exactly. It'll be a firmware update for the truck. That'll be great.
Nothing to worry about.
And the way Elon's talking, it sounds like the trucks will stop talking to iPhones if he has his way.
Ooh, there's a rift building with Apple.
He doesn't trust Apple's new AI in the phone.
There's a lot of that going around, but it's not just Apple. I mean, this is being built now, similar things into Android phones. It's being built into Windows machines. The more I've watched Rob Braxman lately as well, it's like run Linux, run Linux, run Linux.
Oh, yeah. Rob is... he's a guy that has a face for radio.
I know.
But he has been on for a long ass time. I mean, I've watched him for years.
And he does get into the weeds and he does get into specifics.
No, Rob does know tech.
Yes, he can tell you what parts of the hardware.
Well, he's basically a retired, somewhat successful tech company owner.
So he made some money.
He made enough money to stop working for the rest of his life.
Which is what the dream is for all of us.
And I don't know if he lives on it, but he used to be on his boat all the time.
Now that would be, I can just picture that life.
I think he's got a house as well.
I can picture Gene on a yacht somewhere in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, totally.
Broadcasting this show.
I used to think that's what I was going to do. But, then reality set in. But no, I grew up sailing. My dad had a sailboat. Multiple sailboats. So I've been sailing since I was like 12 years old. But
you realize boats cost a little more money than
and I had my own boat experience here about 6 years ago, 7 years. Let's see. I sold it 5 years ago, so I must have bought it 7 years ago.
And it was a great 2 years.
Yeah, it was for the salespeople. Yeah, it was an awesome 2 years because I bought the boat. So I got, and I've always liked fishing. So I got a fishing boat to go down to the Gulf to catch some fish. And so it was a central console boat. The first month of its life, it spent at the dealer having all the electronics put in. So I had like dual fish finders with different frequencies of sonar on there. I had different motors. I had automated controls. You could drive this boat from your iPhone like back 7 years ago. It was a pretty fun boat, but there were two problems with it. One, I had an industrial, like I had my photo studio, my podcast studio / photo studio back then, which was in an industrial building with a 14-foot garage door.
Ooh.
The boat was 14 and a half feet.
Oh, that is, you're like, how do I make the door?
It was so fucking annoying because my plan was that it would fit through there and I could store it on there.
Yeah, because it's not cheap. That's one thing I learned. My buddy here, his dad passed away a few years ago and left him a boat, and they had a slip down on Lake Michigan, which, I mean, if you want to talk about expensive, like it is insane what these places get. Just to store the boat.
Pricey, but it also, like, you're stuck on that one body of water. My whole point is this thing was decent size, but it was trailerable. And so I didn't have to have a slip on the Gulf that I would only drive down like once a month and use. I could use it here in Austin. I could take it somewhere else. It's actually part of the reason I ended up buying my sport ute with a diesel engine, so it had more torque for towing.
See, Brooklyn said you could have just let the air out of the trailer tires. It
wasn't enough. That was the first thing I tried. That's an old formula. It wasn't enough. I ended up having to disassemble the roof on the boat, which was a pain in the ass. Not something you want to do on a regular basis for sure. And of course, the next model year, they came out with a folding roof, the bastards.
Oh, of course. You missed it by that much.
1 year. I was the first order for that boat in Austin. So I got the first year model. But anyway, long story short, I sold it 2 years later to the same dealer, had him basically consign it, sell it to somebody else. And I got exactly half my money back.
Well, you did good then. That's good for selling a boat.
Well, I was happy at least. I mean, I was very happy the day I bought it because it took 9 months from when I ordered it until it actually showed up.
So did you figure out
I was very happy 2 years later when I sold it.
Yeah, well, per day.
Because I no longer have to think about it.
To pay for that boat, what was the, how much? How many hundreds?
I lost about $30,000 on it.
Damn.
Yeah.
So that over 2 years, like, it's about a little over $1,000 a month to have it. I hope you were on that boat a lot.
I used it 5 times.
Well, the math is way easier than 30,000 5 trips. That's 6,000 a trip.
It was 6,000 a trip, not including gasoline and the fact that I was paying $1,500 for my studio where the boat was stored.
Yeah, if you weren't sailing and nailing Adriana Lima on the boat, you did not get your money's worth.
I definitely did not get my money's worth. It seemed great in concept. I'll tell you what was a much better deal was I also had a jet ski at the time, which
those are way cheaper, Gene.
Well, here's the problem. Jet ski takes like 5 minutes to hook up behind your car and go off. You could putt around for a couple hours, drive back. You wash it down in the course of about 10 minutes. It's just so much less work. So consequently, when I wasn't trying to go out with friends, it was just me going out. I never took the damn boat. I always took the jet ski. And so that was, I think, like, I probably would have used the boat more had I gotten rid of the jet ski before buying the boat. But I had both.
And the costs incurred with both.
Jet ski is not a big deal. Jet ski, well, when I bought it, it was about 10 grand. I think they're 15 now, thereabouts. And I used it a lot. I definitely got my money's worth on the jet ski. I had probably gone out at least twice a week for most of the year.
Well, that is quite a bit.
Maybe like 40 weeks. 40 weeks a year, twice a week. So about 80 times a year.
But you're not crossing the Atlantic in a jet ski.
No. The jet ski I just used here in Austin. I mean, that was kind of the differentiator between the boat and the jet ski is the boat's intention was always to go fishing in the Gulf. Could also use it here locally to go fishing, but it was meant for, near shore fishing. It wasn't like a flat bottom or anything, but it was a center console, so you could go catch tuna on it if you wanted to. You could catch any of the smaller fish. It's too, you're not going to go for like a shark or something crazy big on it, or like the supersized tunas they have out in the in over by the goddamn, what's it called, Cabo.
Well, you don't know because you lost your memory.
I did lose my memory. Cabo is where I've gone fishing in Cabo lots of times for really nice fish, both tuna and sailfish, marlin, all kinds of stuff. The fishing is very good in Cabo. I probably wouldn't take the boat there, but for the Gulf, it was perfect. And so long story short, just get a jet ski, don't get a boat.
Less money, double the fun. Well, you can only pick up one chick at a time, though, on a jet ski. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that is very true. One chick at a time, but she's right up against you the whole time.
You want to go party out on my jet ski? Bring your friends. No. No. So why you put more memory in the laptop? You got that in your go bag ready to...
Oh, it's a new laptop.
Oh, why didn't you buy it? Well, I understand why you probably didn't buy it with more memory, because it would have been 5 times more to get it from the manufacturer.
That's exactly why.
Who'd you get it from?
Didn't I go over my whole laptop story last time? I thought
no, I don't remember it. Was it you get a new?
Oh, maybe it was on the other show.
You do more than one show?
I know, right? So I was going on my trip, which was 2 weeks ago, and before the trip, I was kind of
didn't have your license,
right? I was kind of hemming and hawing and trying to decide, should I bring my gaming laptop or not, because it's really kind of old and I don't really want to drag this big behemoth. So
laptops are a lot like women. They only last so long, you're saying.
Mm-hmm, pretty much. And so I made a mistake of looking at new laptops.
Oh, yeah.
And then I found one that could sufficiently work for what I need.
You fell in love.
I did not fall in love, but I realized that this was better than what I had. That definitely is. It was it's got a 13th generation i7 and a 4080 graphics card. For people that are into video games, they'll know what that means.
Well, the 4080, is at the top now?
4090 is the top.
Okay.
So it's not quite the top.
What brand did you go with this time?
Gigabyte.
Ooh, nice.
Which is the same brand I had last time. I've always liked those guys. So I ordered it, get my laptop, powered up, install software. Notice 2 of the keys on the keyboard don't light up properly.
No, right out of the box? That's a disappointment.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. I'm like, son of a bitch. Because remember, I got this thing 2 days before my trip. So I'm like, well, this sucks. Let's see if I can. I mean, I won't have time to like return it and get a new one replacement. So I went and bought another one, exact same thing, overnight, just so I could get it before my trip. And I'll deal with the refund later and just make it a refund instead of a exchange.
So now you have 2 laptops.
So new one shows up, but wait. And I'm looking at the box. I'm like, this box is too small. The last one had a bigger box. I open up the box, same manufacturer, different model.
Same size or a different size even?
No, different size. So this one was 17-inch. The one that showed up was a 14-inch.
Ooh, that's not good.
So I didn't even open the box. I just saw that on the box, and then I'm like, son of a bitch. So called up Amazon. I'm like, okay, guys, what the fuck? The first one's got broken bits. The second one is literally the wrong model. So I've now got 2 laptops sitting out on my credit card that neither one of them is going to work. They're both refunds. It's not a happy camper.
Amazon's going to be like, do not sell anymore to this guy.
Well, and Amazon was already like, why, you're ordering and refunding everything you order now.
You're like, you're fucking it all up.
Yeah. And so I sent them photos, and I think that kind of made some headway when I talked to the manager out there. And then right after that, I opened up my browser because I still had the page sitting on that laptop. And it's like, refurb version of that laptop now for sale, $500 cheaper. So it's basically it's $2,000 laptop. So it was like $500 off of that. And but it's only going to ship in like 25 days.
So you're like, that's immediate. No good.
I was like, well, wait a minute. This is weird. So hold up. I'm returning one of these. And a refurb isn't going to be available, but it's for sale right now for right about the time that they're going to get mine and then turn around and refurb it. Wait, hold on. So I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. So this refurb, which of course I ordered because it's cheaper.
Did you make
I'm like, I'm probably going to get my own laptop.
Right. You should have made note of the serial number on there.
Right. Exactly.
It'll come back, which is fine because that's what you wanted, and you're getting the same
that's
thing
what
for
I
a discount.
bought. Yeah, I wish it worked, right? I wish the keyboard worked. So I thought, well, that's just really weird. So I was like, okay, well, let's see here, because I waited like longer than I should have probably before packaging and shipping off the laptop.
Just you want to see if they were going to be able to send the other one before this.
And then meanwhile, I'm getting an email saying, oh, your laptop is delayed a little bit.
No,
I'm like, oh, no. Dude, this is way. I mean, you got to admire the just-in-time mentality of selling a product as soon as somebody starts a refund process on it.
There is nothing in the algorithm that notices the guy returning. It's the one buying the
same
new
guy
one.
Bought it.
This is a great gig.
It's a great gig, is right. So I'm like, oh man, this is hilarious. So finally, I send mine out. 2 days after I shipped my laptop, it's like, hey, good news, your laptop's showing up tomorrow. I'm like, all right, let's see here. So it would have been hilarious if 2 keys didn't work, but as I found out after opening it, it actually was a different machine because the keyboard did work. And from what I could tell, I mean, it may be a return unit, but clearly it was returned for not a reason that something wasn't working. It was returned because somebody didn't want it. Because everything works. It is totally clean. There was nothing that was different on it from the unit that I had, except it was $500 cheaper.
Well, yeah. And I think a lot of people have an aversion to it. Now, if the amount isn't enough, I get it. But when you start getting into $500,
it's $500 is right at that point where that's sufficiently enough for me to say, okay, I would have taken it even if it had the 2 keys. Frankly, all they had to do was just say, hey, what if we give you a partial refund and you keep it?
Right.
I would have said, yes, sir. Let's do that. That's easier for me. I'll live with the non-lit keyboard on 2 keys for a savings.
I mean, the beauty of this is anybody that knows how to use Photoshop can now make it look like 2 keys aren't lit up, even if it works.
Right.
And it'd be like, Amazon, give me a discount. Don't defraud anybody.
Yeah, I guess that's the danger is they would sooner just get you to,
because you can't prove because people lie. That's the problem. People lie.
They do. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of scams.
But I mean, it's like when I sent them 2 photos, one of which shows the keyboard with the 2 keys not lit up, and then the other one, and they weren't like, they were the command key and one of the function keys. So they kind of jump right out at you. If you had like the escape key or something didn't work, you could even make an argument saying, oh yeah, that's on purpose.
Right.
But these were clearly random keys that didn't have the backlighting working. So now I've got 3 laptops. I still haven't been credited the money for the first 2 yet.
And now you need more memory.
Now I need more memory for this thing, but that memory showed up this morning, so I can put it in again.
It'll show up. Don't worry about it.
I did. That's what I'm saying. It showed up. That's why I'm awake, because the phone call from Amazon woke me up.
What do they call you when they're delivering there?
Well, they couldn't figure out how to get into the gate.
Oh, well, you're in a gated community.
Yeah.
Oh, the guards were annoying them. They weren't letting them in.
Amazon, we've not heard of you guys.
You guys a new company? When did you start? I can just imagine.
What are you
doing that to a driver? Be like, what? I know.
Amazon now. What do you got? What do you all do?
What do you sell? Everything. Everything. I'm drinking some Liquid Death right now that came from Amazon.
Liquid Death. I've heard of that stuff. I've never tried it.
Good. And my local grocery store never seems to have it in stock. It gives me a soda pop feel in a 19-ounce can that has 20 calories. So that's a pretty damn good ratio. And what kind of sweetener are they using in there? This one is a no artificial sweeteners. They're using just the agave plant, I think. So it's what they make.
Agave is not that sweet.
It uses agave nectar.
That's it?
Yeah. And this is the severed
Doesn't
lime.
Use aspartame?
No aspartame. You can look them up. Very few ingredients.
And it's sparkly?
Yeah. It's fizzy.
Yeah.
It's fizzy water.
Yeah, the problem with fizzy is it's acidic.
Yeah, it'll rot your teeth out if you let it.
It'll rot your teeth out and your guts and everything else in between. So I like the flatness of tea.
I agree. But for a nice little change up compared to a Mountain Dew or an RC, which I like, which are like 180 calories for a 12-ounce can.
But you could drink a Diet Mountain Dew.
Oh, I hate the diet stuff.
I think the Diet Mountain Dew is the best of the diet tasting ones.
Does it have that awful aftertaste?
It has the least of that of any diet drink. If you've never had a Diet Mountain Dew, I'd say check it out, because of all the different varieties of things, diet versions, they're all worse, but Mountain Dew is the closest to normal Mountain Dew as far as taste.
This is good information.
Yeah, I'm surprised you've never tried that Mountain Dew.
I have an aversion to diet sodas. I can't remember. I maybe drank a diet soda when I was like 20 and then went, ugh.
No. Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean,
most of them are pretty crappy, but I do think that the Mountain Dew is the closest in diet format to what the normal one tastes like.
And some of the sweeteners have gotten better, but that is the Truvia package, which I used for a couple of years in my tea until I realized that the stuff they use to bulk up the sweetener is basically poison.
Well, sure, but the Truvia is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome, but it's poison. So I try to avoid it, not use it in massive quantities.
Yeah, we've talked about erythritol.
Yes. That stuff will clean you right out.
It will clean you out, so it's good for that. It also used to be all through up until about the 1980s, really, but all through the 50s, it was used as bug poison.
And then they're like, wow, this is sweet.
If you have an ant control issue, they would come and spray that, a little white powder, and it would kill all the ants. And then somebody realized you could eat it.
Well, you can technically eat anything.
I mean, you could. The other thing about erythritol is it's really good for your teeth, apparently, because just like the ants, it kills the bacteria that cause cavities.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could just use a little bit of Listerine every day.
That doesn't kill them all, though. The thing that's interesting here is it uses the same method, right? So it tastes sweet to bacteria and to the ants and other bugs, but it contains no calories that they can process. And so they actually starve to death while eating it.
And thinking they should be full.
The same thing with the bacteria.
Oh, another sad news.
So people recommend just taking a spoonful of erythritol and then mixing it with an ounce of coconut oil and then swishing that like Listerine.
Kill everything in your mouth.
But you can literally swallow it if you want. You can spit it out, but you can also swallow it because it's not going to do anything bad to you. And just a teaspoon of erythritol is not going to clean you out.
Kinky Friedman, dead at 79, man.
Yeah, sad day, man. We keep talking about people. I think we talked about Kinky about 6 months ago.
They ain't making Jews like Jesus anymore. What a song.
Certainly not. Yeah, that's a song that Kinky had, by the way, if people have not heard of him.
have played him a few times. He's a legend. Yeah.
He ran for governor of Texas years ago. He's a Texas legend, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, he used the N-word in that song about Jesus. I mean, that
he did.
People were very upset.
Back when everybody used to use that word.
I know. Yeah. I know. He somehow never got canceled. Nobody canceled 80s, Kinky, baby.
Yeah. I met him. I've got a box of his cigars.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you were kind of a honorary Texas Jew boy.
I was kind of an honorary Texas Jew. Yeah. So his band was Kinky Friedman and Texas Jew Boys. Because
if you're walking into that show and not realizing you're in for a fun night, I don't know how you would have missed that.
Yeah. Well, and this was maybe 7 years ago. So it was a while, but I went to a show, ended up talking to him afterwards and hanging out for a little bit. He's a little guy, man. He's shorter than me.
Very funny though. Unlike you.
Yeah. Unlike me, he's funny or was funny.
Yeah. Well, he still is. He will live forever in audio recordings and video.
Yeah. And I think a pretty good songwriter. As far as a musician, I'd say he was pretty average, but as far as a songwriter, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he knew how to put the words together and to get a reaction and to make people laugh. Not an easy thing to do.
No, and back in the late 70s, when he was kind of at his peak, he hung out with a lot of the other guys here, like Willie Nelson, and it was the Austin scene.
Right. Yeah, he was not an MTV or C Brooklyn. He was an outlaw. He was in that. I wouldn't really say country music, but that's as close to what you could put.
Folk, country rock, I guess would be the it's straddling all of those, rock, folk, and country. It's same shit Bob Dylan was doing,
right? But with more humor.
That was the Minnesota Jew boy,
right? So it's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be fair, we have Steve Goodman, the Chicago Jew boy, that was one of the greatest songwriters that we have ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jews run the
music industry. So. Yeah. A lot of people, it's like when you hear the "You Never Call Me by My Name," the David Allan Coe song, or you hear "City of New Orleans," Arlo Guthrie. You're like, oh wow, these guys are so authentic. No, a little Jewish kid from Chicago wrote those songs.
Man, next thing you're gonna be talking about Neil Diamond.
Song blue creeping on my window.
Yeah, where's he from?
Neil isn't he a New Englander? I think.
Is he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know he has that big connection to the Boston Red Sox, and I do believe he is a New Englander. Where they sing, that song, "Sweet Caroline." Every damn Red Sox
he's born in New York City.
So close. New York City.
So he's a New York Jew boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrote some big songs. How about Paul Anka?
Yeah. Is he Jewish?
I think maybe.
I don't think he's Jewish.
We don't know if he's part of the tribe or not. A lot of Jewish songwriters.
Let me look it up on Jewipedia.
So you have a special connection. You got is it a subscription plan that you have to get into? And I know we were so desperate, CSB, if you're still listening, when we were trying to figure out Gene's problem with voltage, I started asking ChatGPT, and it wasn't all that helpful.
No, Paul Anka's Syrian.
Okay. Totally different.
Yeah. His dad's from Syria. His mom's from Lebanon.
Also wrote some damn good songs, though. My Way. Top at the list. No question about it.
So he's like Danny what was the guy's name?
Good old Danny, what's his name?
God, what was his name?
Gene, you need more memory.
I do need more memory. The guy who started the children's hospitals.
Oh, Danny Thomas.
Not Danny Kaye. Danny Thomas. Danny Kaye was Jewish. Danny Thomas was also from Syria.
Alexa, reorder memory.
Shut up. It'll do it because there's a recent order too. So
I hear mine talking in the other room, have no idea what it's saying, but I haven't ordered anything recently. So
yeah, anytime you say reorder, believe me, it's going to hear you. Did you say reorder?
Yeah, and it's still talking. I don't know what the hell it's saying though. Alexa, stop! Jeez.
Reordering all your products for the last month.
That's right. We are unaware of what you want, so we will just do this.
Yeah, exactly. We'll send you one of each.
Fake order.
But we have this recording of you saying, Alexa, reorder.
Right. But no, I was on a podcast.
Podcast. Yes, I was listening to a podcast.
And then the oddity, of course, will be this show eventually.
We on Amazon and Alexa? Or did you submit the podcast to Alexa?
So if people actually
you
search
say
for
Alexa,
our name,
play Unrelenting podcast.
Alexa, play Unrelenting, and that will. That if you search for our names on Amazon, we show up like real live authors and music people
cool.
and
stuff.
You can listen to Unrelenting directly through your Alexa device, and then somebody will be playing this on their Alexa device, and then the device will then reorder things because it heard the commands, and it gets very confusing. Very confusing. Which is why I've never ordered anything, even though they try this like, well, if you order through the Alexa, we'll give you money off.
There's different pricing. Yeah, if you voice order, it's different pricing. The problem is that you don't know if that different pricing is higher or lower.
Right.
And it could be either.
You're rolling the dice.
It's so crazy that they have different pricing depending on how you order. It's different pricing if it's from the phone, different pricing from a computer, different pricing from a voice device.
And
it's nuts.
Kind of get why they did this, but I was surprised when they finally cut off the price matching.
Yeah.
Because, I've gone through this before with Amazon. And again, it's a game of chicken. Because if you buy especially look at your laptop, you got a $2,000 laptop. You buy this 2 days later, the thing hasn't even showed up at your house.
Yeah.
They drop the price to $1,500.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you go into a chat with them or call them and ask for a price match. They'll tell you they won't do it.
Right.
And you're like, but I can just immediately return this and rebuy it. Yeah, well, you can. But you'd really rather. I don't understand the reason why that would be preferable unless so many people are so lazy that
I think that's mainly what it is, because it's an inconvenience to do that. You got to drive to a UPS store. But yeah, and speaking of, I just saw that the current price on that laptop that I ordered for $2,000 is now $1,700.
See, it's amazing, isn't it?
Now my discounted one is no longer a $500 discount. It's now a $300 discount.
There's going to be another refurb on a gigabyte laptop.
I'm just going to keep buying these until the price is under $1,000. I think I'm just going to keep.
You're like, can I get a refurb that's been refurbed already? That would be good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, theoretically, the refurbs actually have a better warranty coverage because they give you 90 days to return them instead of 30 days.
Interesting.
Right?
For most things, it's not I don't know anything with hard drives. I still would be a little.
There's no hard drives in a laptop.
Even if it's a solid state, there's only so much usage. There's, I understand. But you still kind of feel like there's only so many read-write cycles that if somebody did something weird with it for a month or two and then returned it.
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be battery, which these days are non-replaceable in computers. They used to be replaceable battery. Now they're not.
Yeah, the good old days.
Now, the good news is I cracked this thing open already in anticipation of putting the memory in. I already put.
You voided so many warranties already.
But again, it doesn't matter because it's refurb anyway.
Got it.
But it looks like the battery is actually very easy to take out of there. So it's not what would be termed a consumer replaceable, but it's certainly a service center replaceable item. And
well, you could probably do it if you're not.
I have more screwdrivers sitting on my desk than most service centers right now because I kept losing my screwdriver boxes.
They're with the memory.
So I think you might be onto something because I'm looking now. I've got 5 different micro screwdriver kits all sitting within 5 feet of me right now.
If you had cats or dogs, I think they were taking them and fucking with you. But the snakes, I don't think care enough to sneak into your room stealthily and take your.
Yeah, they're not. I don't have any pets that like to steal things at all.
You might want to get one. That way it's a good excuse when things go missing rather than you're losing
if I
your
didn't
memory.
have snakes. I mean, now that I'm traveling way less than I used to, I probably would get a cat. I've always wanted a serval, but I think I would actually, at this point, I wouldn't get a serval. I would probably get a, what do you call those things? Ocelot.
I'm not up on what different cat breeds are.
Yeah, I do like the ocelots. They're smaller than servals, but they're so pretty.
Would the snake eat them?
Yes. Yeah, they're literally what the snake would eat.
Like, that's about the right size. You kind of look like a bunny.
Exactly the right size. The native food for the snake species that I have here are monkeys.
Okay.
So, and it's actually kind of fun watching them hunting monkeys because they're quite intelligent. What they do is they chase the monkey up a tree, and the monkey is, I guess, not smart enough to realize the snake can climb a tree. Well, a lot of snakes can't. This one can. And so it actually climbs the tree at about 3 feet per second. And it'll chase a monkey all the way out to the top of the tree and then onto a branch until the branch breaks. The monkey falls down the ground and then breaks something. Hopefully its head, so it doesn't feel anything, but probably not. And then the snake climbs back down off the tree and then eats the monkey.
Seems like a valid system.
It can't run away at that point.
Right.
So the fact that this snake's method isn't necessarily even suffocation, like it'll do that still before it eats it because it doesn't want it moving around in its stomach.
Yeah, that would be very inconvenient for this.
That would be annoying.
Yeah.
But the typical method of killing monkeys is actually chase them up a tree and make them fall off, which is pretty ingenious.
Yeah, well, that they've learned that throughout their DNA and just know,
And back when this was a much smaller snake, and back when I used to be a photographer and I had all my like backdrops and a lot of photo stands and things like that, it used to love to climb up onto the green screen stand that was about 8 feet in the air.
Oh, nice. Practicing.
And it would just sit there on the pole that holds up the green screen and then just chill. You know, like half the snake on one side, half the snake back and forth on the other side. So it looked very cute when I was sitting up there, but it was too damn high up for me to grab down. And so I was always annoyed when it climbed up there because it's a bit of it's a bit of an issue trying to get him back down. I have to use a ladder to climb up there and bring him down. But he's gotten obviously way too big to do that. A couple times he's decided to climb up when he was taking a bath to climb up onto the shower curtain rod, which obviously the shower curtain, I know that he did that because
that only handles so much weight.
I hear a clanging sound and I walk into the bathroom and the shower curtain rod's on the floor and the snake's looking me up at me like, why didn't do that? Mm-hmm. Shower curtain rod's not made to hold up over 100 pounds.
No,
he doesn't know that.
Now he does.
Well, I know he doesn't because he's done it more than once.
What you want to do is set up a camera and then you got a viral video right there.
Yes. The problem is he's done it like twice in 3 years. So it's not quite. Most of the time he behaves himself and just takes a bath and then climbs up onto the counter where the sink is and then falls asleep up there.
As one would do.
Well, I think it's a little higher up. He doesn't like sitting on the ground. He likes to be a little higher up. So he climbs up on there. Plus, he's got a mirror, so he can look at himself in the mirror.
Oh, well, that's even nice. I mean, he's got to be able to primp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As
we all do.
But
I mean, do you share,
right now
do you share the bathroom
ready.
with the snake, or has he got his own?
No, he's got his own bathroom.
As our snakes often do.
Well, he's got a bedroom and a bathroom.
Well, I understand the bedroom because otherwise he might try to kill you in your sleep.
You know, you and my dad, the only people that say that. Obviously, the snake knows I'm way too big to eat. He has no intention of killing me. He has broken a rib once accidentally, but that was totally by accident.
Says you.
Well, yeah. If he wanted to do it, he would have done a lot more than one.
It's like, I'm going to get you. I'm just playing.
No, I was carrying him from one location to another on my shoulders, and he was kind of wrapping himself around me, holding on. And then as he saw his house and he decided to go before I was ready for him to go, he kind of fell out of my arms, which, of course, well, what do you do if you have no arms or legs?
Bob.
So you grab by the tail. So he grabbed onto me to keep himself from falling on the ground. The problem was he was wrapped around my ribs.
I still say he's watching you when you sleep. He's coming in.
Yeah, you and my dad. I swear to God. It's like you guys grew up on some weird-ass TV show or something to think like that.
Gene's like, I can't lose too much weight because the snake will get me. The minute
I only eat monkeys.
The minute I Ozempic enough for the snake to think I'm able to be prey, then there's a problem.
Dude, I told you can't get that shit, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Did I bitch about that last show? I went to my...
Were you trying to get Ozempic?
Yeah. I went to get my physical done and everything. And, well, I'm not on Ozempic. I'm on one of the other ones. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. But it's from the same company, and it's the same kind of shit. It's just not as well known as Ozempic. But... and the best one's actually Manjaro. That's the one that really works well.
Yeah, that sounds like a Disney ride.
I know, right?
Get on Manjaro.
Get on Manjaro. But it's like they're all unavailable. It is crazy. They're literally unavailable. The drugstores don't have them in stock. And my neighbor is a drug dealer, so I talked to him.
Well, an illegal drug dealer or an illegal drug dealer?
Exactly. So I talked to him. I was like, dude, what's the deal with these things? Because I can't seem to be able to get it. And he's like, dude, people are coming in with prescriptions and they're just paying cash and they're just buying all of them up. Like, they're not dealing with insurance. They're not doing it. They're just walking in and paying cash. I'm like, son of a bitch. Well, that's a bullshit thing.
You're like, why aren't I in the Manjaro business?
Well, I mean, I know why, but it's the shit costs very little to manufacture. It's a formulation of a semaglutide. Like, you could buy that for horses for about $50. Not saying anyone would do that.
Not medical advice.
Not medical advice, and certainly not, using products on humans is illegal that are made for animal use. But it's the same shit. It's
when it all comes down to it, same chemical compound.
Yeah, it is. And so, like, compounders can make this stuff. If you have a practicing doctor, let's say in Mexico, for example, they can get this stuff done very cheap.
That you find on Zoom. Maybe he's in whatever country.
Could be.
Right,
Zoom could be all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it's not, the prescription's not the issue. Like, I've got a prescription from my actual doctor. It's the getting it that is hard. Even with a prescription, even as a freaking diabetic, which is what this medicine was originally created for. It wasn't for weight loss.
No, they want it for fatties now.
Have you not watched South Park? You should watch South Park.
I just downloaded that. There was the latest movie.
You just recorded it on your DVR is what you meant to say.
Right. That's what I meant. Exactly.
Yes.
The latest movie. But I did see the one where it was the poop transplant. Was that the one? No, that was the fecal transplant one. That was on South Park. They hit it out of the park. They always hit it out of the park. Yeah. So does Brooklyn 112 came in with 2222 says, thanks for the consistency. Hey, thank you. The show is very consistent, whether it's good or bad. Not sure.
I mean, we're different every time, but we are consistent.
We do like to say only you can make it go pew pew. Boost the show. That's how you interact with us, your hosts, here on the No Agenda.
Preferably, you just send money in PayPal. That way, I'll get a piece of it. But yes.
No, you don't. Geez, well, you had a node at one point.
Huh? I had a node. I used to have a node. Yeah.
Well, now you have an Albi, so you get half in the Albi. You have the Albi account.
I haven't figured out how to use Albi yet.
But you're getting money in the Albi account.
Yeah, well, I was getting money in this account too until it was all tied up in nowhere's land.
And remember, Albi only lets you have like 1 million Satoshis before
I'm good for 5 years.
Not letting that come through. So that's why I had to get my own node. It kept filling up, and I was like, damn.
Oh, boy, the first world problems there.
Like, damn, need to get my own. Damn.
My node's filling up with all these people paying for my illegal music.
I got to. I buy a lot of hard drives to store all my music.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing is now most of the stuff goes right to the node. Well, I have between music, television, and movies, what do you think the 3 NAS devices are for? It's not like I do anything else.
Porn?
No, none. Sorry. I mean, why would anybody have that as a physical or downloadable thing?
Well, yeah, but I mean, there are plenty of people that are collectors.
True.
The thing with with porn websites is they're very ethereal. Or ethereal?
Yes.
A shit disappears, is what I'm trying to say.
You're like, oh man, where's that thing where the chick did the thing?
Yeah, with that one chick that I liked. Yeah.
Yeah, gone, no.
Where's that Jennifer Lawrence private stuff that was leaked?
Oh, the fappening, baby. That was not.
Yeah, where's all that? It's all gone.
It's all on Pirate Bay or wherever.
They took it all off of there. They got a deal, like with the.
They made a deal to take it down.
Yeah. Yeah, all these porn websites, they're all bribable.
We really haven't talked about.
Oh, yeah, you want your shit gone? We can probably arrange that for a fee.
Let's see, for the bingo card, we're closing in on the end. I have to just say AI, Taylor Swift, order lunch, and we missed a lot on today's show.
We did miss a lot. That's all right. Yeah, we'll have only 1 or 2 winners instead of everybody.
Now, did you like the chapters for the last episode? I think the ChatGPT is getting better. Once I can get it to understand the timing, the time codes in the transcripts, which is an oddity, and I'm still not sure why that's the case. It's kind of like it has a drift or something that it can process the text, but it's not necessarily processing it at the time at the same time.
So AI shit is now built into Descript.
Yeah, I saw they sent me something like your free program is changing.
Yeah. So it's got it'll do chapters now automatically. It'll do a summary automatically. The problem is it'll do the chapters, but you still have to separately import them into your hosting service, which I use Buzzsprout, which I like Buzzsprout. But it's not seamless. So
it creates the JSON file though.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Well, that's a disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah, it should. I agree. If it was creating a JSON, it'd be even easier. It creates a text file. So you have to do a little bit of fiddling around with it to import it. So it's doable, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But it will do the leading zeros.
Well, that's nice.
That's built in. That's just a checkbox.
I was surprised, although maybe it is just too much processing power, because that ChatGPT, because I feed it a transcript and it can, do that. And I have fed it audio files of songs and it was able to extract lyrics. but it still refuses to do a transcript of a podcast file. It doesn't, which maybe it's just too much processing power to take all that audio and convert it to a transcript. So that's still another step.
Processing power issue. I think it's just a limit on the buffer size.
Could be. So I still have to put that through Adobe, then send that to ChatGPT. And once I have to ask, I figure the easiest thing to do is ask it simple questions like, how long is this episode? And if it spits out the wrong number right off the bat, try again, because there's something that...
you're doing way more with ChatGPT shit than I am. I'll use it if it's built in, but otherwise I don't go out of my way to use it.
Well, if you can figure out the right prompt engineering, if you can figure out the right words to add to what you need to make it automated, so I can save this.
But it's still not automated if you got to do that. Automated would be just going through an API when you push a button.
Well, you can get it to that point if you know what you're doing. There's the one book writing software that I've been playing around with, and they have their basic prompts, but you can then work from there, meaning this is like with the podcasting stuff, very similar, where you can go in and change it to meet your needs. And it does, give you different things. If you tell it with the chapters, hey, any little topic change, give me. And then you can get 5,000 chapters for an episode, or, telling it to make sure they're, pithy and comedic, the titles that they give you. And it's just the way being able to feed it where you're right. You'd like to do a checkbox where you can set it up and say, okay, you have a podcast. Well, do you want the chapters to be very descriptive, or do you want them to be funny, or do you want them to be more clickbaity? And then depending upon that, the prompt that it would feed through to get it done obviously would change a little bit, but it is still way faster. And you're right, it's not one click, but if you want to do chapters for an episode like this, the 10-15 minutes it takes to get it done in ChatGPT and then exported, way easier than looking through a transcript, or way easier than having to listen to the episode and do it manually. And the results are pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody actually besides CSB uses the chapters, though.
Nobody does.
So it's kind of just there to beef it up. It's kind of like the shit they put in with the Truvia, just to bulk it up a little bit. Because that way it feels like a bigger product because it's got this.
Right.
So,
I
enjoy being able to provide the transcripts and the chapters and whatever else.
Never used to.
It's because the work level's way down and it could just be done.
Well, and again, your level of work level down is still more than what I'm willing to do. So I'm happy to use the built-in shit.
You're just a lazy bastard, Gene.
Pretty much. So if it's built into either my host or my editing software with Descript.
And this will make people spend more money. This is something that can change the game for these podcast hosts, these programs that do nothing but podcasting, offering the thing where it is one click.
And
it'll give you what you need.
The hosting service will do that. They'll do a summary and chapters, but it's like another $20 a month.
You're like, no, I mean, the ChatGPT is a full price is $20 a month. Why would I pay that to add something that, ChatGPT does?
I think for a lot of people, they don't want to have to think about it. But I don't know. It's, I just, having it in Descript is built in now without any extra money is good. Although it's been now 6 months that I've been paying for Adobe and I still haven't installed it yet.
Well, at least you got your money's worth.
I always feel like that's the case because it's cheap, but what's going to happen is I'm going to run out of the year at the cheap price and they're going to say, oh, it's time to raise your price. And I'll be like, fuck you. And I will have never used it the whole time.
Just looking here at the chapters from the last episode, we have carbon dioxide levels and calmness. Creating influencers, Gary Vaynerchuk, Hollywood power dynamics and AI influencers, real people versus fake people in advertising, virtual girlfriends and AI models, marriage dynamics and influence. Well, that was all you. The importance of money in relationships also Gene. Virtual spaceships and expensive hobbies is chapter 10. That is definitely. Then high-end simulators and realism, helicopter safety and emergency. Oh, here's a great one. Blind race car drivers and inclusivity.
Yep. You got to do it.
Idiocracy and societal regression. That is true.
Basically what you're telling me is the AI ignores you the entire episode and just writes down what I said.
Seems so. Although they've got stem cell treatments and medical advances. Listener donations and community support.
Oh, that part's yours. Yeah, the donation's definitely yours.
Technological and privacy concerns, and then closing thoughts.
Every time you bring up Braxman, it puts that in there.
It's like, we know what you mean. We know what you're saying.
Yes, Braxman, that equals privacy concerns.
And the beauty is it's all just done for you in a matter of moments. And this is where a lot of this stuff is. The downfall of our current society is we're so happy to be generating useless content because now computers can do it for us, that we're ramping up our generation of useless content more and more every year. But useless content is useless. But the beauty here is you're not generating useless content. You're taking our already human useless content of the show and adding to it by
I disagree. I don't think our show is useless. First of all, it's entertainment.
Oh, I agree.
But
in the grand scheme of things, though,
derivative content is useless content.
But it helps people find the content they want. In the case of chapters, I think it does. Because if somebody pulled that up, and they're
anybody listening, either live or on the recording, if you actually use the chapter to find something, like if you scanned what the chapter said and then forwarded to that section, let us know. Even if you don't include any money.
Right. I know CSB uses chapters to find it. And yes, no Agenda Millennial, I am talking about putting in the transcript from the show, and the AI created all of those chapters with the time, made it into a JSON, and boom, it's just there for people to see.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing. It's creating the chapters for us. ChatGPT can do that, and it can do it fairly well. It can parse content. I'm not thinking, it's going to come up with great content, but it can take what you give it and then reformat it in different ways.
It's also pretty good at spelling.
It's better than I am at spelling. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes up every now and then with, it's not good at pithy titles. You have to be very clear. Like, I want something funny, but just like 2 or 3 words. And then you need it to give you like 20
I've got a friend that just sent me some photos and is promising to send me this full video where he's speaking in front of 6,000 people on AI right now.
Ooh, very nice. Is he an AI though?
He jumped into it with both feet really early on, and it's all about like getting stuff done by AI, instead of humans.
Which I get it. That's a lot of anything you can train, anything that is repeatable.
Yeah.
I understand AI is going to be way more helpful than a phone tree when you call a company.
I'm just waiting for Google in Gmail to have a button that, or maybe in the preference or maybe on each email that said, would you like us to rephrase your email before sending it?
That's there. It's coming.
You're not even going to see it. You're just going to check the box that says, yes, please.
Well, that's kind of scary.
And it's going to, all mail will be computer generated at that point, and it'll be read by computers, because who has time to read email? Right. Especially when it's long and flowingly written.
It'll be
all you have time is to look at a summary.
Yeah.
And AI will give you the summary. Here are your top 3 emails today.
I covered that on the last Random Thoughts. Google and the paid ones are adding in the AI right to Gmail. People are going to be like, great, I don't have to write emails anymore.
Yeah, and who's adding it? This is how crazy it is. So I recently updated the driver for my Logitech mouse. Part of the driver for the Logitech mouse includes ChatGPT.
What?
So now when you press a button on the mouse, it pops up a little box that has pre-configured ChatGPT request thingies. What do you call them? Prompts.
Yeah.
It has pre-populated prompts.
Prompting for a prompt.
Yeah. It's like, and what would you like help with here? And then it'll send it right to ChatGPT. And like, that's part of the mouse driver now.
How far we fallen, Gene? How far we fallen?
It's no wonder this whole country's going to hell in a handbasket.